Oh yeah, hi there. So in this video, I'm going to create a full stack CRUD application in just 50 lines of code, and let's see how long it takes. So first thing I'm going to do is go to userbase.com, and I'm also going to open netlify.com because we're going to use that later. So Userbase, we're going to try it free, and I'm going to create a new account. So full name, so this is just going to be a throwaway account, and password, okay, create admin. Cool, so I have this admin. Now let's start a Svelt project. I'm going to change directory into here. Get svelte.js /template SUNstack. Alright, so I'm really loving this stack. I'm calling it SUNstack, Svelt or Sapper Userbase, and Netlify for deploying and its other goodies it gives you. Okay, so it's installing. While it's doing that, I will open that up in VS Code. Okay, so Userbase is for logging users in, authentication. It's also a database. I'll make another video on it, but for now I'm just trying to make a CRUD app as quick as I can. And if I had a faster computer, that would help a lot. Okay, so I grabbed the ID from there. Here in source, app.svelte, I'm going to give it all of this. Okay. Come on. Okay, scripts, const app ID equals this here. Okay, so to use Userbase, going to open this, the docs, and installation, I'm just going to grab it from the SDK. And full disclosure, I'm going to do some sort of cheap moves to get it to 50 lines of code. Okay, we don't need these. Okay. App.svelte. Okay, so we got the app ID. And we're going to grab off the window const userbase equals window.userbase. So that, so what I just put in there, or what I use, that it's going to add userbase to the window. So I'm going to open my terminal, Command J, and then npm run dev. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is have a login. So let's create that. It's going to be a form. Oops. Oh man, I'm not getting autocomplete. Okay, form. It's going to be a label ID equals, for equals username. There we go. Username. And there's going to be an input type equals text, and the ID equals username. And we're going to bind this to a variable called username. Let me put that up here. Username, and we're also going to have a password. Cool. And I'll copy paste this and then just change username to password. There you go. Okay, so this HTML writing is a bit slow, but I'll get to it in a minute. Okay, so we got a password, and then username is going to be password, and this is going to be type password. Okay, cool. So we're going to have two buttons. Okay, here we go. Get into the better stuff. So I'm just going to have sign in, and I'm going to have a button for sign up. And when I click them, on click equals, one is going to be sign in, one is going to be sign up. And they need to be type equals button. That way they don't submit the form. So I'm kind of, I'm not really doing this the right way. But because I want two buttons in here, one sign in, one sign up, just to simplify things, I'm not going to submit the form. So, okay, and here we go. I'm going to be a little cheap here with this function. So sign in equals, it's going to be userbase.signin, and all we need is username, password, and that's going to sign in the user. Awesome. And we're going to have sign up equals this, userbase.signup, username, and password, and that's all. Okay, so I'm going to change this a little bit. Okay, wait, sign in. What's wrong with that? Sign up. Okay, nothing wrong. So we're going to, to use Userbase, we need to initialize it. So right here, userbase.init and then you're going to pass in app ID. So rather than having this here, I'm going to get rid of that and put it right there. Okay, and userbase.init.then. So if there is a user logged in, we just structure it out. And I'm going to set this to, I'm going to have a user object equals user. So initially, the user object is null. So if nobody's logged in, it's null. And then if they are logged in and they load the page, it'll automatically set that user to the user. Okay, so we got username and password, sign in, sign up. We've got both of our buttons. Okay, let's see how it's looking. Okay, so username, password. I'm just gonna add a break right there. Okay, username, password, sign in, sign up. Okay, so one thing I want to do is I'm going to use the await, and here we're going to have auth promise. So basically, we want to show a loading screen when they load it up and it's checking, oh, are they logged in or not? It's going to be loading, and then we also want that loading screen if they sign in or sign up right after they do it. So I'm going to create something called let auth promise equal, actually, I can just set this here, auth promise. Okay, so while it's booting up, there will be this promise while it's initializing. So we're going to wait this auth promise, and I'm just going to say loading, and then we don't care about the response, so I'll just underscore. And then down here, I'm going to have catch error. So I'm just going to say error. So this isn't going to be very pretty. It's just going to be functional. You can add your own designs. And close the await. Okay, so loading and error. And put this in. Cool, auth promise. So another thing we want to do, so if when they sign in or when they sign up, we want to have an auth promise as well. So auth promise equals this. Auth promise equals that. Okay, and then the other thing I'm going to add on right here is that once they sign up, we can do .then, and it'll pass us the user object. So user goes to, it'll say user object equals user. So our user object is what we're using in the code here. Cool, so that is all we need for sign in and sign up. So the only thing is with a free account, you only get 3 users and 1 app. So no users yet. Hopefully this works. Username, I'm going to do A. Okay, sign up, loading. Okay, so cool. So they're now logged in. I get this. It's just that we're only showing this form all the time. So rather than always showing the form, we're going to say if not user object. So if nobody's logged in, we'll show the form. And then otherwise, we're going to say, we're going to say hi, comma, user object dot username. Okay, so hopefully this is working. Let's see. Cool, so there's hi AA because I'm logged in. So next we're going to add a log out. And I'm going to call it sign out, just to keep everything consistent. Okay, so again, it's auth promise equals user base, and here we can just say sign out. Cool, and then I'm going to add a then here. So once they've signed out, I'm going to set the user object to null. Oops, like this. Okay, and then so when they're logged in, here in their login state, I'm going to add a button on click equals sign out. And I'll call it log out. And I'm just going to add a style here. Position absolute, top 10 pixels and right, just to put it up in the right corner out of the way. Okay, and I'm just going to add this for now. Here, console.log, so you can see what this user object is. Okay, so loading, hi AA, log out. I'm going to open the terminal. Or not the terminal, the DevTools. Okay, this is the object. So auth token, creation date, payment mode, user ID, username. So I'm just using this for now. Okay, and if I log out, it is null again, and I'm logged out. So now I can sign in with and there I am, signed in. Okay, cool. So we got auth working. I don't know how long that took, but now we're gonna add the database, the to-do list. So this is all, okay, this is kind of like init stuff. And then here, this is like auth stuff. And now we're gonna come down and do database stuff. So DB stuff. Okay, and I'm gonna delete all these lines to get down to the 50. But for now, I'll write it like this. Okay, so DB stuff. We've got our, okay, what do we need? We need to-dos is gonna be a list, and we need a new to-do. So there's gonna be an input for new to-do, and we're gonna bind to this new to-do, and whenever a new to-do is created, we'll be using this right here. Okay, so one thing we need to do, we're gonna have a reactive statement. If user objects, so if they're logged in, we're gonna connect to the database. So that is just userbase dot, crap, I forget. Is it create? No. Okay, I'm gonna check the docs. Docs, so they've got this great quick start. Is it creating? No, it's not. Connect using the database. So database name, open database. Okay, we're opening database, right? Okay, open database. So there's going to be a database name, and there's going to be a change handler. So here I'm going to say const database name equals to-dos. So that's going to be passed here, database name, and then a change handler. Function change handler. So for this, it's just going to be, so whenever something gets added or updated, this change handler is going to pass all the items from this database into here. So I'm going to say to-dos equals items. So whenever the database updates, it'll update into this to-dos, and I'll have all my to-dos. Okay, cool. So we've connected to the database, and now we need to have our CRUD operations. So first would be create to-do. So let's see, come down here, we got sign out. Now we need to create to-do. So input type equals text. I'm going to say ID equals new to-do, and we're binding the value to the new to-do like that. And I will give it a label, new to-do for new to-do. Okay, cool. So on click, so this button, add to-do, on click equals add to-do. So we're going to define that up here. Function add to-do. So we're going to use new to-do, which is up here. And I guess for now I'll just do that. So for this, it's userbase.insert item. It's going to be the database name, comma, item. And the item is going to be this new to-do. And then I'm going to set new to-do immediately to empty. And another thing we're going to do is have a let to do promise. So right here we're going to set to do promise. So whenever some CRUD loading, so new to do, it's right here. So await to do promise. Loading to do's. So this isn't the greatest this won't be the greatest user experience, but this will work for now. And then down here we're going to do something similar. So, you know, I am just doing this so I can get more lines in, but I kind of like this syntax because I don't have to worry about the loading and the error state. I just kind of have my await and then what it's awaiting down here. Okay, so to-do promise. So on click add to-do. It'll add that to-do. Okay, that should work. One thing we need to do though is show all of our to-dos. So each to-dos as, okay, so a to-do is going to have two things, or any thing that you put in the database is going to have two things. One is going to be item, and one is going to be item ID. I'm also going to have index. Okay, and each. So here we're going to show, so I am going to do this. I'm going to have an input type equals text. Actually, for now, just to show you, I'm going to just do item. And just so you see the item ID, I'll put that there too. Okay, so we'll be able to see all of the to-dos. So remember, when we userbase.insert item, this will insert the item. It'll put it here as a promise, and then once that promise resolves, there'll be this change handler here that triggers because the database has been updated, but it'll resolve, and then it'll show us all of our to-do stuff again. Okay, I feel like maybe there will be an error here, but let's see. New to-do, something. Okay, database not open. Okay, so my issue was this one here, open database. I just misspelled here, database. And another thing I want to do is, while it's connecting to the database, we want to have this to-do promise so it blocks any interaction. What is wrong with that? To-do promise. That should work. Okay, so come back here. Loading, cool. So new to-do, something. Okay, there it is. Cool, something, and that's its ID here. And if we come here to admin panel, we refresh. Oh, I should have showed you this before. So you can see the users, but you can't see any of their data. So that's one kind of cool thing about this. So it's very secure for them, and no one can access their data but them. Okay, so let's make this look a little better. Okay, there we go. Button, add to do, so item, so we don't want to show the item ID. Okay, so what I'm going to do is kind of similar to my other to-do video. I'm going to have this here, an input, and bind the value. So this is a bit wonky, but I'm going to bind the value to do's at index dot item. And then I'm going to have a button on click equals delete item, or delete to do. And I'm going to pass in the item ID here. Okay, I'm kind of doing two things at once, so I'm going to put an X for delete. And let me see, do a break there. Okay, so this here is for when I want to update it, and this is for deleting. So I've already done the creating, and now I'm going to delete to do. It's going to get passed in the item ID, and this is fairly simple. To do promise equals userbase.delete item, database name, and then item ID. Okay, and that's all there is to it. That'll delete it for you. So let's see if this is looking any better. I need another break somewhere. I don't want that to do. Yeah. Okay, so it's calling all of our to-dos. We got them here. If I add another one, add to do, now I have it there. Let's try to delete it, and there we go, it's deleted. Okay, cool. So that is all working. Finally, we need to update. So this isn't, like I said, the greatest user experience, but basically what we're going to do is on blur, it's going to update it. So on blur, update to do. Okay, and for this, I'm going to pass in the index. So this is a bit different. I'm passing in the index so that I can access, since it's bound. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Okay, so I got the index, So this is the index inside of to-dos. So I'm using the index so I can get the item and the item ID equals to-dos at index. So since I'm binding it to its position in the to-dos list, if I go over here and I type something new like that, then it's going to update in this to-dos list. So I'm grabbing it from the to-dos list, and it's been updated there. So now I just need to grab out this updated item and the item ID, and to-do promise is going to equal userbase.update item, database name, item ID, and item. So this is the updated item, right? And it's just a string. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so we got add to do, delete to do, update to do. Okay, is that everything? Let's try it out. Let's see if there's any bugs. Okay, loading. So I'm logged in as AAA. I add a new to do. Cool. So I have hello. Let's say I want it to be hello there. Cool, and it updates hello there. So if I refresh something, hello there, I can log out and I can 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, log back in. Yes, my password's bad, and I have my data there. Okay, cool. I think that's everything. So that is a to-do list, and I know I said 50 lines of code, but it is, let's see, we're gonna delete all this, delete these lines, delete the comment. Okay, that's 51. There's some other thing I must have done to get it down to 50. So I can just, this is just one line function. So let's say I do that. I think, oh, I could put to-do promise on the same line as this. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, okay, 50 lines of code. Actually, sorry, just because I want it to be exactly 50, I'll put to-do promise on this line. Okay. So obviously it doesn't mean much, right? Because I'm putting stuff on one line is maybe less readable. But anyway, 50 lines of code, that's pretty cool. Let me zoom out. So this is everything. And we have a CRUD application with authentication using the SUNstack. So, oh, I need to deploy it to Netlify also. So let me end this here, npm run build. And then I just need to drag and drop my public. Oh wait, I don't really want to go through my Finder and log in. Email. Svelte dummy. Let's see. Okay, and then I just need to drag and drop this public folder into here. So I guess I'll open my Finder. There we go, uploading, deploying, and let's see if this works. Okay, I'm gonna make a new user. Okay, starting from scratch. Let's say I'm someone, I come to this link. I'm gonna be BBB. I'm gonna sign up. Here I am, signing up, making my to-dos, eat breakfast. Cool, I can eat breakfast, I can eat lunch, and I can actually I don't want to eat breakfast. I delete that. Okay, something weird happened there. I want to eat supper though, that's for sure. And I want to actually eat, not supper, dinner. Cool. And then I can refresh, it's still there, I can log out. BBB, 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 I can sign in and my stuff is still there. Okay, cool, so we deployed. I don't know how long that took. I guess I will put it in the title and you'll just see on the video how long that took. But I think a bit, maybe over 30, 40, 50 minutes. Okay, that's everything. Please like and subscribe. Let me know if you want to learn more about Userbase and Svelte. Okay.